Hi everyone, so I'm here with Heather and we're trying out our new Marykay products, and I'm going to be doing a full face on her and step by step showing you exactly how we do this beautiful makeup on my beautiful friend. First we're going to prime. I love this primer. I never used primer before. I've tried so many, none of them worked for me. And this is the first primer that I'm absolutely obsessed with. The first time I tried it on half of my face, and my husband automatically knew which side was the Marykay side and which side was just moisturizing. So just look up. And what this is going to do is actually going to smooth and fill in your pores. And it's just creates a really good barrier for the foundation that's going to go over top. It just makes everything just look seamless. Covers a lot of fine lines. You don't want to go too thick with it. You just want to do a very thin layer. Okay, so now we're going to go in with our CC cream by Marykay. So this CC cream is actually pretty full coverage. It's much more full coverage than I realized. And I love that. I love full coverage. It's great. It's really got a great consistency too. You just look up. I'm not going to do under her eye because that's just adding more product when I know I'm going to go in with a corrector and with a concealer. So that would just be adding product on top of product. And that's how we get cakey, and we want to avoid that. So then we want to just go down the neck. You always want to take your foundation down the neck. And then even if you don't go all the way down, you could put bronzer and it'll still look seamless. Or if you want to go all the way down, you can. The most important thing is coming down the jawline so that you don't see the difference between the neck and the skin. It's never going to match exactly. So now we're going to use the Marykay color corrector, and it has a peach undertone. And what that peach undertone is going to do is it's going to just cancel out the darkness. And then we're going to just apply concealer on top once we cancel out some of the darkness. Okay, so now we're going to go in with the Marykay Perfecting Concealer. This is an amazing concealer. If you like full coverage concealers, you're going to love this. I mean, it's totally full coverage, and it's going to cover everything. So now we're going to be going in with the Marykay translucent powder. You want to go very light. I know a lot of people bake. You can just look up. I know a lot of people like to bake and leave powder there, but that doesn't work for a lot of people, especially if you have more mature skin. It definitely doesn't work for me. And so we're not going to just use too much powder. This is translucent, there's no color. It's just to mattify the under eye. Now we're going to go in with the Marykay Silky Setting Powder. Just look up. And the only difference between the two, between the translucent powder and this setting powder, is that it has a color to it. And this is the color Light. And it really is, it brightens up the face so much while also mattifying. But I love colored setting powders. And this one is just great. It really works. It's really beautiful too. I'm actually going to put that on her eyelids too, just to cancel out any discoloration. What I'm going to do is, see how I'm by your ear? I'm just going to put a little bit right here. that's where you're gonna focus the product when it comes to bronzer. You're gonna focus it in the corner, and then you're just gonna blend out. But if you go heavy with bronzer, you're gonna look like 1990s people didn't know how to do anything. Crazy. And then you can just, and if you want it to be a little bit more, you can build rather than putting a whole bunch and then you can't take it away. So you always start with less. And then if you feel like you gotta keep going, you keep going. And then, you don't have any problems with this because, you know, you're thin, to be honest, because you're not overweight. But if you do, you want to hide a double chin, which you don't have to worry about. You would just put bronzer under your chin right here, and then use it, and then it darkens it, kind of hides it. It really makes it look more like chiseled, which I'll still do a little bit, just because it looks nice. So now we're gonna go back to that translucent powder, and we're going to just set, we're going to bake underneath the contour so that you can really see a sculpted look. You're going to drag it out. Okay, now so while we let that sit for just a few minutes, not long, we're going to go into the blush now. We're going to be using a couple rose colored blushes that are a really beautiful color. And it's just going to really make her cheekbones pop and just brings life back to the face. Gives it more dimension, and since we took away a lot of color, we want to add that back in to the cheeks. Looks really good. You see a difference? But no, don't get scared because I know you're just looking at the bottom part.
No, I know.
It comes up. And I don't leave it for long either. You don't have to leave it for long. Some people leave it for long and you don't need to. Okay, so now we're just gonna brush off that translucent powder. And you'll see how beautiful it just makes the face look. Very sculpted, and it's exactly what you want. Cheekbones look beautiful. I really love this translucent powder. It's not very drying. There's a lot of translucent powders that are just, they dry you out, and that's never what you want. It's beautiful. It doesn't leave a cast, which is very important. Do you see the difference? You don't feel like there's a white cast, right? Okay, good. Do you like it so far? Okay. Okay, so now Heather's going to be using the Satin Lips Sugar Scrub, which exfoliates the lips. It removes all the dead skin. This product is amazing. The first time I tried this, I knew that I had to get it, that I had to have it. It was just such a wonderful product. So she's going to just be in a circular motion. She's just going to be removing all of that dead, all those dead skin cells, and she's going to just rinse it off. A little bit, whatever you have, rinse it off, and just remove that scrub. And then she's gonna follow that up with the Satin Lips Butter Balm, and this is one of my favorite products. It really does feel like butter. And I wanted her to put this on now before we do her lips so that they can just be soft by the time we get to her lips. Marykay highlighter, and you just want to very lightly, depending on how heavy you want to go, you're gonna go all the way up here you're gonna go sort of beneath. If you have any puffiness, you know, near your eye, which a lot of us do, you don't want the sun to hit that. It'll just accentuate it. You just want to go right beneath and right above the cheekbone, but not too far in. Not too far in towards the nose. Just to highlight the top of the cheekbone. You just want to make sure you don't go too high by the eye, especially if you have more mature skin. It's going to accentuate anything that would be underneath the eye. Like there's sometimes a little puffy patch that we have by our eyes, especially if you're more mature skin, and you want to avoid highlighting that part, which would be right up here. One side, we're starting with like a light transition shade. It's not too light. It's actually it has a lot of pigment, which I was not expecting. It reads a little darker than it does in the pan. We're gonna list which color it is in the description, but this is a very pigmented, and this, it came out beautiful on your skin too. So what I'm gonna do is, this is a good old transition color, and what you're doing is you're just gonna put it right in the very center of her crease, and it's basically, it's called a transition color because you're building it upon, so it's used to transition, and you're building up the color little by little. Because if you don't build it up and you just go in with a really dark color in the very beginning, it can be very hard to blend out. And if you have any mistakes, it's harder to correct once you've already just went in with a really dark color. And so she has a perfect amount of lid space, which is like very good for, easy to work with, since she does have so much lid space. But if you have less lid space, you're not going to want to go as high. You're going to want to use a smaller brush. But if you have the lid space, then you have a lot more room, and you can use a more fluffy blending brush. And so I'm just building little by little with the same color. Once you get to the edges, you can also just feather it out, even past the eyebrow, just so you don't see any lines. A lot of times people will just feather it out, even up here, you know, with the transition shade, so that you don't see any lines. It can be really much more smooth looking. Okay, so now we're going to show you a little makeup hack. We're going to use one of Marykay's very light, almost white, but maybe off-white. It's called Crystalline, actually. And this is such a beautiful and popular shade from Marykay. And what we're going to do is, you could just look up. We're going to, right under her eye, where some of that color might have been lost, we're going to just go like this, and you're going to see that nice line it creates, and it just lifts the eye up right away. It just gives it an automatic lift. It's really beautiful. Okay, so now we're going to use the Marykay Merlot, which is a favorite. And these eyeshadows have a lot of pigment, and they blend very easily. They're very blendable. So now I'm going to use a very blackest black color, and I'm only going to apply that right near her lash line, all the way to the inner corner. You want to be as close to the lash line as you can, especially by the inner corner. Once you get towards the outer corner, you can get thicker and thicker as you go. Okay, so you can just keep them close. And this is a very pigmented black. And the one thing I love about these eyeshadows is that they're very pigmented and they blend really well. And anybody who does eyeshadow understands that blending is so important, and if you have a beautiful eyeshadow in the palette but it doesn't blend well, it's just not going to work. It's going to be very hard to get the look you want. And you always want to tap the brush to make sure that any excess powder is coming off, because it will fall. This eyeshadow does not have a lot of fallout, but with black you tend to have at least some fallout, so you have to make sure you tap the brush. I'm just going to create a cat eye wing, and we're just going to use an angled brush, which I was just telling Heather, it's much more forgivable when you do have mature skin to use an eyeshadow versus using a liquid, because liquid, once you mess it up, it's just, you gotta keep starting over, and it clings to everything, and it's much less forgivable than an eyeshadow, especially when you're using black. And if you don't feel like doing one, you could skip this part. I mean, she looks great already, so it's not like it's going to change anything about the look. You know, some people want a more natural look, they won't even do the wing, and that's fine, you don't have to do the wing. It all just depends on your preference. You just show them. The same exact colors that I used on the top, I'm going to use on the bottom. And I'm just going to start off not with the transition shade, but with the dusty rose color. So it's just going to look all the way up. And I'm going to start in the center. Just make sure it connects. Now you can either stop in the middle or go all the way to the inner corner. In her case, let me take a picture. I'm going to go all the way in to the inner corner. And we're really going to smoke it out because her eyes are so beautiful that we just really want to accentuate them as much as possible. Now I'm going to use a different brush to blend it out. And the first shade you put under, you just want to really diffuse it. And it could be a little bit, a tad bit lower. You don't want to go too low. Okay. I'm just going to do the same thing on the other side. So now I'm going to use that Merlot shade, and I'm going to go even closer. So you want the lightest shade to come out the furthest, but not far. And then the medium color shade, you still want that to peek through, and then finally you'll do the black shade very, very close to the lash line. Now that we finished doing the under eye, we're going to do her inner eye with a smoky black eyeliner by Marykay, and it's just in the shade black. This is really gonna just finish the look. I forgot to mention, we did go in with the Ultimate Mascara by Marykay, and it's 80% waterproof. It goes on beautifully, and her eyelashes are looking perfect. The Precision Brow Liner. So since Heather doesn't have that much eyebrows, or if you have thinner eyebrows, you're gonna wanna go with something that's very precise. And so this is exactly what this is going to do. And you would just shape it the way, go with the natural shape of your brows. You don't want to really try to do anything crazy or different. Go with the natural shape and then build from there. It matches her eyebrow color perfectly. It's just a little bit darker. This is literally the perfect shade for you. And it's going on without any type of crumbling or anything like that, which is really nice. Just gonna do hair-like strokes. The general rule of thumb is that you want to you just turn your head towards the color should come towards the middle of your nose right here. Well, right where your nostril is, right there. Then the arch should come right there, this should be the top of the arch. And then this is where it should end, right around there. Unlimited lip gloss. And the color is nude blush. It's like a pinkish, very light, almost lip color, but richer. It's actually really pretty. And I'm gonna apply lip liner on her, but I like to use the lip gloss first, just to sort of moisten the lips a little bit, not too much. You could just, yeah. And then I'm gonna use the lip liner to perfect it. Now we're going in with the Marykay lip liner. Okay. This is Marykay lip liner, and the shade is medium nude. And this belongs to Heather, so. When you're applying lip liner, especially if you want to have fuller lips, you're going to kind of just right outside of your normal line. You'll just go a little bit further down, and it creates a much fuller lip. Now I want to accentuate her Cupid's bow. So I'm going to just raise it up just a little bit higher than her natural Cupid's bow. Okay, you guys, so this is the final look. I think she looks so beautiful. Are you happy with it?
Yes, thank you so much.
Okay, so if you want to know which products we use and the colors that we use, it's going to be in the description below. So thank you for watching.
Thank you.